Hey folks, Dave back here in Studio B, and when you talk about hockey games for the Sega Genesis, one comes to mind, NHL 94. That's the big one. That's the granddaddy of them all. That's the one that's appeared in movies and people still play today, NHL 94. Do you have any idea, though, how many hockey games were actually made for the Sega Genesis? There was a penalty box full of hockey games. And in this video tonight, I'm going to run through them. I'm going to show you them all, and we're going to talk about them a little bit. And hopefully this is part of a bigger project where in future episodes, I am going to get some gameplay out of all of these. So let's go. All right, so the first one, and these are in no particular order, by the way. The first one, this is the big one for me. Just NHL Hockey, it was called. I remember exactly where I was when I discovered this game. It was at a college in central Massachusetts. We were all partying out there, and we went in one of the dorms, and this game was here with the Sega Genesis, and I was like, what is this? And I started reading the manual, and I was like, uh-oh. So I took the manual, I snuck the manual out of the room, and I went off and I read it cover to cover, and I was like, oh yeah, I need this. So I went back and I put the manual back in the box over here. And then when I got home that weekend, a Sunday night or Monday morning, I zipped right down to the store. And I didn't have any money at the time. I was just a young kid. But I was like, you know something? I got to find money for this. So I picked up a Sega and a copy of NHL Hockey. And I was off to the races. This game was a game changer for me in my video game playing career, if you will. In fact, I did a video of some of my, I think it was my top 5 videos, and this is on there because this had such an impact on me. This is so much better than anything I had. I played in television and Atari, even, some of the Nintendo Blades of Steel. Fine. This, though, this was a big deal. And if I flip it over, take a look at the back here. The vertical rink. Remember the vertical rink that you had here? The team logos were in the game, the Stanley Cup. It didn't have team players in it. It just had numbers. But this was the big one. This got me going. I really, really loved playing NHL Hockey, the first one, for the Sega Genesis. So that is the first one on the list, and that was one of my favorites and still is today. Did you know, though, that they made another one? This was called just EA Hockey, and it was very, very similar to this one, except that you played countries, okay? So you had, I think you had Canada, Russia. There was a handful of countries in here. So instead of NHL teams, this was countries. And this game played a lot, I think it was a lot faster than the one I just showed you there. So they were the same game. It just plays faster, and it was countries rather than NHL teams. So I don't know if you knew that. Oops, sorry here. But yes, EA Hockey. This was hard to find, actually. I had a hard time finding this one. But this one here had all the countries in it. I'm trying to think if it says which ones here that you had. Sweden, Soviet Union. So, yes, your typical countries from Europe were on there. I think USA was in it, too. But, yeah, there was that one there. Then they come out with this one here, NHL PA 93. Now, this one had the players but not the teams. So the first one had the teams and the logos. This one had the players, and they hadn't combined them yet. And that's why in the next one we'll talk about that combines them all. But this one was the NHL PA, so they couldn't get the NHL on board. So they had the NHL PA, so you have all the players on here. And again, just a couple more improvements, but again, skate with all the greats. That's what they talked about here. So, yeah, NHL 93, a couple of, upgrades from the first one here. The first one still was fantastic. A couple of upgrades on this one here. But, yeah, so NHL 93 was the next one. And then I picked up this one. This was actually for the Mega Drive. Kind of the same game, a little different cover. Like I say, if you look at them side by side, they're pretty close. But this was another one that they released, and it plays pretty much the same. I think I got it just because it looked a little different, as I like to collect these things here. But it's pretty much the same game as NHL 93. But there you go, a little different box. NHL 93. Then, of course, this is the one we all know, NHL 94. This is the one-timers, and the whole bit. This brought it all together. The NHL with the teams and the NHL PA, they all finally came together in this one right here. I still don't know if this was my favorite out of the NHL series on Sega. I still like the first one a lot, maybe because that was my first love. This one is fine, too. I think as they went on, though, they just played faster and faster and faster, and it got away from like a real hockey game, and it turned into like real arcadey. And I know that they're arcade games, but it just got a little over the top for me. And then on the back here again, sirens and the whole bit, and it was really neat. The expansion teams, Florida Panthers and the Mighty Ducks. So of course, all the Mighty Ducks fans loved it here. But yeah, anyway, this was the big one here, NHL '94, of course. Alrighty, what else do we have on the list? Well, after NHL '94, of course, came NHL '95. I really tried to like this one. This one was okay from what I remember. This is when NHL started to get a little crazy with the games. Again, the first 3 were great, and then I don't know what happened. They started improving them too much, if that's such a thing. But so NHL '95 was here. This is when they started changing the look of the ice too, and I didn't like that. I liked the ice in the first 3, and then they started to really get crazy with the ice with skate lines and a whole bit. And I think they just gummed it up a little too much. But NHL '95 was fine. They get some new goaltender animations and the whole bit. Boy, this gets caught all the time, doesn't it? All right, so NHL '95 was the next one. All right, well, after NHL '95, we might as well just wrap up and go NHL '96. And at this point here, the PlayStation had come out. PlayStation 1 had come out. So they're starting to phase out now in the as we get to the late 90s. But NHL '96, I don't think I liked this one much at all. They had smarter skaters, tougher goalies, 5-minute major penalties. So they've added a few things here. I didn't play all that much. I mean, it was fine, and I probably would enjoy it if I played it again. But I still like the earlier versions of this game better. But anyway, this NHL '96. And then, of course, I believe this was the last one of the NHL series on the Sega, NHL '97. I think this actually came out for the PlayStation 1 as well. I think I got that somewhere behind me on a CD. So this is where they phased out of the NHL over here on the Sega Genesis. '97. I don't believe they put out a '98. And, of course, you got Beezer on the cover there. And so they just a few more things they added. Again, they changed the ice. I didn't really like how they changed the ice in some of these games here. But you could have 4 simultaneous seasons going on at the same time. They put the national teams in U.S., Canada, Europe, and the 1996 All-Star squad. So there's NHL '97 in there. So that is the NHL games for Sega. But did you know that they had a whole bunch more games? Wait, I'm sorry here. They do have NHL '98. I didn't see that stuff in there. They did. That was the last one, NHL '98. That was under my pile. I didn't see it. So NHL '98, this was indeed the last one for the Sega Genesis. And then by this time here, everybody, including myself, had switched over to the PlayStation and started to play the ones on the PlayStation. Just, night and day going from Sega to PlayStation. It really was. But anyway, so '98, this was the last NHL one for the Sega. Now, we got some other ones here. Sega actually put out their own hockey game, just called NHL All-Star Game. Stewie in the back here with no helmet on, the referee. I think that's Paul Stewart. Oh, maybe it's not. But NHL All-Star Game, another vertical game by Sega Sports. This wasn't too bad. I remember playing this a little bit. This actually wasn't such a bad game. I didn't mind this one here at all. And like I said, I'm going to try to get some footage of all these as well. So Sega Sports put out a hockey game just called NHL All-Star Hockey. Did you know that Tecmo Super Hockey, they put out a hockey game as well? Real players, real stats, real action. The NHLPA was on this one, so they had the players in this one. Now, this was a horizontal game, as you can see. It's going horizontal instead of vertical. And they weren't allowed to use the team names in here, but you did get some players in here. So you had Tecmo put this one on. This one was okay. I didn't play it all that much, but it was okay. So when I get some footage on here, we'll see if I remember if it was as bad as I thought it was. And ESPN, remember when they used to do hockey? Well, they're doing hockey again, but they were big into hockey back in the day. They had a National Hockey Night. This had all the ESPN sounds and themed into it. So this was all baked in. This was like watching a TV broadcast. So I really liked National Hockey Night here. And again, this is another one. As you can see, it's horizontal. But I think you could actually switch it up so you could go vertical as well. So you could do either one. And it had all the team logos on there. They had Clement. Clement, Hands of Cement, doing his little broadcast there. This was done up really nice. This wasn't a bad little game. ESPN National Hockey Night. I'm looking forward to getting some footage off of that one there. And then next on my list, Brett Hull, Hockey 95. So it seemed like at some point everybody that was a superstar in the mid-90s started coming out with hockey games for the Sega Genesis. This one I didn't care for. It was, if you could kind of see it here, it's kind of at a diagonal. So it's not horizontal and it's not vertical. It's kind of a 45-degree angle. And it made it real difficult if you were shooting at the net at the bottom. Going up, you were okay, but coming down made it really difficult to shoot. So for some reason, they decided to have this ice on an axis. But it was okay. Al Michaels was on play-by-play in this one, so I'm looking forward to get some footage out of Brett Hull Hockey 95 for the Sega Genesis. Well, not to be outdone, of course, Mario Lemieux had to have a game as well. Mario Lemieux Hockey. And this one I enjoyed. Mario Lemieux Hockey was not that bad. This was a side-to-side, again, horizontal game going like this. The face-offs were kind of neat because the puck could actually drop, and there was like a little box that appeared. You were trying to win the face-off. So that was like a mini-game all in itself. I really enjoyed that here. So Mario Lemieux Hockey for the Sega Genesis. And this one came with a puck. Yeah, it came with a puck if you got the package. I had to buy this off of eBay, but it came with a puck. So I got the puck, so I have the complete package here. So I have Mario Lemieux, Sega Genesis, with the puck. So Mario Lemieux Hockey. Let me see. Then, of course, we had to go with Wayne Gretzky, had his own game as well. Wayne Gretzky in the NHL PHA All-Stars, NHL PA All-Stars. Didn't really care for this one as well. It was just okay. It was a side scroller, horizontal. It was all right. It had some. If you like the names back in the day, it was kind of fun. But I myself didn't care for this game too much. You could play 4 players on this one, which is kind of neat. It didn't have the NHL teams, obviously, but it did some neat things. But it wasn't one of my favorites. So, Wayne Gretzky and the NHL PA All-Stars. And this came in, this is actually a cardboard box. A lot of these other ones here came in the hard case. That's what I really liked about the Sega. It all came in the hard case. And then the last two are kind of the crazy ones of the bunch. We have Hit the Ice. I think Hit the Ice was actually an arcade game. Yeah, the arcade hit. And it was 2-on-2. It got kind of crazy. Had the ref out there that was skinny and shaking the whole bit. So Hit the Ice was just a crazy, crazy hockey game. And it was all about big, big brute guys, and they would fight and scoring. It didn't matter if you scored. It was all about beating each other up and fighting in the whole bit. And so, yeah. So if you remember Hit the Ice in the arcade, you could play Hit the Ice on the Sega. And the final game of the bunch, this was the nutty one, Mutant League Hockey. Now, my box is kind of beat up. This is a expensive game, and it's hard to find, and I don't know why. I don't like it. I don't like it. I put it in a few times. I remember back in the day I bought it, and I played it, and I was like, this is terrible. And I think I just brought it back to the store. I didn't like it back in the day. And I only picked it up to kind of have it in the collection here, picking it up. I got a pretty good deal on this one, even though it's all beat up. I got a good deal. It's like, I don't want a prime one because this is just for me. And I just haven't played it. I think I played it for 5 minutes when I picked it up off of eBay here, but I don't really like it. I just don't. It wasn't hockey. It was weird. So I guess that's what made it fun because it was weird. But I was trying to play this like a hockey game. The same with I think of the was it Mutant Football or something like that. I tried to play it like a football game and you can't. This is more of just craziness. So don't play hockey. Just play crazy. And so I was trying to play hockey with this, and I just didn't enjoy it. So maybe I need to go back with a clean slate and clear my mind about it's not a hockey game. Just play it and have some fun. But Mutant League Hockey was the last one on my list. So head back to Studio B. And so as you can see, let me get a final tally here. So I got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think I counted about 17 games that were for the Sega Genesis. And now when you buy a game, it's usually 1, maybe 2 if you're lucky. I think there's NHL 22. I don't know what else is out there for new hockey games. So back in the day, you had a choice. You could get there were 3 or 4 different ones coming out. I think there was one year there was 3 or 4 different games. After the initial ones come out, then I was like, you had the Brett Hull, the Gretzky, Lemieux, ESPN, Tecmo. You had a whole bunch of. So we had a lot to choose from. Not that they were all good, but you had a lot to choose from. And nowadays you got the one. So anyway, hey, so I hope you enjoyed this video here. I really am hoping to get some gameplay footage of all of these games up on the channel so we can take a look at all these games from the past. But yeah, so in case you didn't know, I counted 17 hockey games for the Sega Genesis, and that was between 92 and 98. So not a big time frame either. So they crammed all those games into that little spot right there. So anyway, hey, I'm Dave. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.